So in your package, you should have gotten a line drawing of Marge, and this fits on an 8.5 by 11-inch piece of paper, and you can print it right out on any normal size paper, and it'll fit a eighth of a sheet watercolor paper. That's what we're going to be working on today. First off, though, I just want to show you how to do a quick little value sketch, and I just want to find where my darks are. It helps me, gives me a little bit of a roadmap when I start painting my watercolors. I can just look to see where my darks need to go, and it's easier than kind of sorting it out from the photograph. So sometimes I like to just work from a value sketch. It makes your painting go a little bit easier. So anyway, on Marge here, I just want to look where she's nice and dark, and I just kind of do a 3-step value. Real darks, kind of some mid-tones, and then just I'll just leave the whites of the paper showing through for some lights. So now I just want to find the real darks. She's got real darks right underneath here because sunlight looks like it's coming this direction, so that's all in shadow. So this little section right here is all real dark. And I'm just using a soft pencil that will get fairly dark on my paper and releases lead fairly easily. Alright, she's got a few darks coming up in here, but her comb there is all nice and light, so let's leave that nice and light. It's going to spray out. Next dark is that inside of her eye is nice and dark, and this one's nice and dark. Underneath here, underneath her chin is nice and dark, and this kind of comes up and around, cutting out her beak, all that area. So it's kind of a mid-tone in here, light. Next dark's coming down, so all these are nice and dark. And you don't have to spend very much time with your value sketch. It could be just a few minutes on it, and it'll help you just kind of get a little bit acquainted with your subject matter, kind of see how things lay. Already kind of starting to come together a little bit. Now here in the back, her feathers back here in the back are real dark. So I'm going to a little more pressure on my brush, and I'm just going to make those really dark. Nice, those kind of cut up against all this light in here. So we're going to come real dark up against that. And that's really going to add to that feathery look on the edge of her there. These feathers are all quite light. They do have just a few little darks in them. Let's put these kind of some mid-tones. Give me some direction lines here, kind of how those feathers are lying. Kind of get connected with that a little bit. So coming down this way, they kind of fold in. And then it gets dark down here again. And that cuts up into those feathers, kind of creating all those feathers underneath there. Got a little dark right there, even up in there. Comes down her leg. Now in the photograph I didn't have her legs in the photograph, so I had to kind of make them up. But let's kind of say our lights come in this direction. So on this side it's going to be a little bit more in shadow. This side's going to be a little bit more in shadow. A little bit of shadow here. A little bit of shadow there. And a little bit along the bottom there. Sunlight's coming this direction. Let's put a cast shadow off of her as well. So she's kind of creating, her legs are kind of creating a shadow off of her onto the ground. Kind of sets her down on the ground, and just that'll add some interest in there as well. We'll make this all interesting grass shapes, and we'll put a little bit of a shadow in there. Come back up here, just a few darks in here. Get some of these feather shapes in here. This gives me a nice little roadmap to work from when I do my painting, and I'll show you how I use this value sketch in my painting process as well. Those nice and light out there on the top. Line of her beak, of course. Just a couple little darks up in here. Oh, and those little feathers coming off this back side. Alright, well that gives me a great little roadmap to start with. So now when I start my watercolor, I just need to worry about these areas being my dark areas, and I know that these are going to be light. I can kind of put my watercolor together a little bit easier.